as an Ambazonian, I want to say two things about being an Ambazonian, which is why I actually wanted to do the show, not just to show the city, but just to also show how the Ambazonians who are in the West, or who left home seeking further education in the West, are really they're really citizens of the West right now, in the sense that we're very embedded in how the West was created, how life in the West is, and how people work to accomplish what they've accomplished to impress everybody else in the world. So that the Ambazonia that we're fighting for is the Ambazonia where we return to, and when we return to, these experiences will be very, very important in recreating the environment which, like we said, was destroyed by occupiers.
Let me say something. Ambazonians in the West are important, obviously, but the most important people are Ambazonians in Ambazonia. I went to school with some of the brightest people that I know. I cannot even compare with them in terms of academic performance. They outshone me in every way.
Yes.
They are in Ambazonia.
They are back home.
They are back home.
Yes.
They will, given the opportunity, given the functional systems that hopefully they themselves will put in place, will provide room even for us, if we choose to, or if we have the opportunity to work within. I have tremendous amount of respect for our people back home.
Yes.
And I say this because I went to school with them, from primary school, from nursery school to high school.
Yes.
And there were so many intelligent boys and girls.
Yes.
Who did not have some of the opportunities that some of us had, but who are there, and they are no less intelligent because they did not leave the place.
No.
They are the ones that must recreate what suits their needs best. They're not going to recreate a community that suits the needs of Ambazonia coming from the West. Do Ambazonians from the West have a role to play? They certainly do. They have experience, they have expertise. But what I'm saying is that there is a macro structure that needs to be put in place in order to defend the freedom and the independence that the people are fighting for, that they are fighting for. Because at some point we really need to speak as nationals of other countries. Yes, our roots are in Ambazonia, and every experience we live, even after all these years, it brings us back to what if this was in Ambazonia?
Yes.
When I travel to other parts of the world and I experience something, I'm like, wow.
You would like to bring it home.
You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what I was talking about. That these are experiences. Look, nobody can underestimate the intelligence and now the courage and the boldness of Ambazonians to make for themselves, which is exactly why people from La Republique have been flooding our schools with their own children, even though they call us Anglophiles, you know. But what I'm saying is that once we go back and we meet these heroes, they are heroes of ours because they have challenged the system that made you and I leave, or that did not give us the opportunity to study back there. But I'm saying that there's something, and you just mentioned that there's nothing that beats experience. And I think that having gone out and experienced the world will bring the world back to Ambazonia, and I mean, nobody can determine what the limit will be once that happens.
Yeah, the point I was just trying to make is that you've called these people, these young men and women, patriots. That they are fighting to change an environment that did not give us the opportunity to stay there, right? Or to come and study and go back there and express our knowledge, our experience, our expertise. These guys,
Personally.
these are the guys for whom statues are going to be built for.
Absolutely.
All of them.
Absolutely.
There is none of these people that I think you've referred to as middlemen who would have a gutter named for them. We have to respect. We have to and even just the average Ambazonia who has persisted. You know, one of the things that these people did, and I think they ended up believing in it, was to create a caricature of an Ambazonia.
Yes.
the person that they call an Anglophile,
Yes.
or a Bamenda or Mombamenda.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
There's a story you talked about when you were at the University of Yaoundé. Right? You slip and fall, and the word is Anglophile, Anglophile, Anglophile. Right?
Yes.
So they had created this caricature of who an Ambazonian is as a human being. Right?
Yes.
They had created an institutionalized deceit. Right? As an annexed people, as foolish people, as forgiving, as naive, and they believed it. And so when this thing erupted in 2016 and Biya declared his war in 2017,
yes,
all they had in mind was that Anglophile that they had created. The person who dropped his spoon in the, what did you call it?
Cafeteria.
Yes, Anglophile. The person who slipped and fell, Anglophile.
Yes.
Mombamenda, my servant.
Yes.
So this caricature was, that is what they had about the Ambazonia. And they said, okay, 2 weeks, we'll take them out. And you know what Mike Tyson once said? Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right?
Absolutely. That plan falls apart.
Biya and Macron and the French establishment came in with their plan.
Yes.
The Amber boys, without any training,
yes,
without any military expertise, punched them in the mouth.
And in fact, without any plan, because
they
were not
yes,
thinking that they would be
yes,
attacked the way they were
yes,
attacked.
And all of a sudden, that caricature of the Anglophile is gone.
Yes.
And they are looking left and right. They have no idea what to do.
Yes. Well, there's nothing for them to do but pack out, because those caricatures were human beings. You made yourself an idiot, and now there's no room for idiots in Ambazonia. Absolutely, no room. And now that you brought us into Ambazonia, obviously, different people are trying to interject themselves again to tell Ambazonians who they should negotiate with and what should be the outcome. No, is that outcome going to be dependent on somebody else other than Ambazonians?
Let me answer that this way, right?
Yes.
Over the last few years, we've all participated in meetings with people who consider themselves external actors representing foreign interest.
Yes.
Telling us about the geopolitics, the reality of the geopolitics of our situation.
Yes.
Telling us about what they call realpolitik.
Yes.
Telling us that sovereignty trumps self-determination.
Which is absolutely nonsense.
But guess what they were all counted on, and what France and La République counted on? They counted on force.
Yes, brute force.
And guess who is showing them brute force?
Well, it's not them. If they want to bring more, let them do, right?
The Amber boys are showing these people the only language, are talking to these people now in the only language they understand.
Yes.
The language of brute force.
And that's very unfortunate, isn't it?
It's very unfortunate because, as I said, right, at the beginning, without a signed treaty to formalize Southern Cameroon's and La République du Cameroon's federation, without a signed treaty to formalize the federation between Southern Cameroon's and La République du Cameroon, the Ambazonian people expressed kinship. They used their native nobility as the first democratic country on the continent to express a kinship to their so-called African brothers.
Yes.
What late Pamola Njumba used to call in Njumba marriage.
Yes.
Let's do this Njumba marriage. Let's respect each other. Let's honor even in spirit, some of these agreements that we've reached, but were not concluded. And what did they do? Aijo that they are pining for today decided to what Pierre Mesmer called the annexation of our land, right?
Yes.
And they came and dismantled the whole place, and they did that using brute force. They did that using brute force, terror, and the international community
sat quiet
because that is the language they understand. And now that the Amber boys are speaking in that same language, you see the armored the military vehicles going up in flames. You know, that is the brute force language that they understand, and it's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get better, and now you're gonna start seeing the international community is starting to respect. And all of this is being driven not by the generosity of any external actor. This is being driven by the exhibition of brute force by the Amber Boys.
Yes.
And that is the driver, that is the limiting factor,
Yes.
that is going to give us the independence.
And I just want to add to it that now that they've told us what language they listen to, I don't think we should ever allow somebody else to speak with us in that language or pretend that they can represent us in that, because when we gave up our own security and our own defense to what you just described as African brothers, what did they do? They turn around and turn it against us. Yeah. So we should never ever give up our guns anymore. We should never allow our defense to go into other hands, and we should never become second to anybody or I think Terence, I think all the goodwill, all the sense of cooperation, all the going along with the international community has ended for us in a very, very bad place. And I think we should withdraw and abandon that, because people who keep doing the same thing expecting different results are more the idiots or the fools.
At the beginning of the military campaign of the French and the Cameroonese, and I want to highlight what what Macron said when this thing erupted. He said, basically, he was instructing Paul Biya. The word he used was stabilization. You have to stabilize, and then the next step to their solution was decentralisation approfondie.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
Mm-hmm.
But the word stabilization is an innovation of the word pacification, which is the word that they used in the 50s, 60s, and 70s to crush the UPC people.
Yes, absolutely.
So they did not say we're gonna go decimate the UPC. No, they say let's go pacify. It's such a beautiful word,
yes.
pacification.
Yes, they use all these euphemisms, yes. which all to them they know exactly what it means. The only way to stabilize is to go in with a military force
and kill people.
Make sure that people sit where they are asked to sit.
Yes.
And then do what they're asked to do.
Yeah.
So yes.
And I don't know if you remember Sam Sawyer. That was the first person whose head.
That was the first head that was cut.
Yes.
It was not Ambazonians who cut that head.
So and obviously that brings us back to the tactic that they used in the Bamileke country, where they'll cut people's head and put it on the market square. So their pacification, which they themselves have qualified as a genocide. I'm using the word of French writers now, French historians.
Yes.
Their pacification, they say, okay, because we have misused that word in the past in this context, let's not use pacification.
Yes.
Let's tell Biya to stabilize.
Yes.
It's stabilization,
yes.
right? And
look, the situation was stable, was very stable before.
Yes.
And then Biya caused the destabilization, and then he's still being they're asking him to be the one who goes and stabilizes it again. I mean.
But at the end of the day, right? Let's not belabor the theoretical analysis of it, right? I know it's important for people to have, an intellectual framework, but at the end of the day, what is happening is that there is one language that the purveyors of geostrategy, that the purveyors of realpolitik understand, and that is the language of brute force.
Yes.
And I think over the last few months, the Amber Boys are now speaking in that language. Because I do remember when some of the first villages were burned. There's a particular video when a hospital was burned. I can't remember the area. I know it was somewhere in the southern zone. Where it was
Moyoka District Hospital, that has been set ablaze 31st March 2019. You see for yourself. The whole hospital has been set ablaze by the terrorists, La République du Cameroon military. These people don't want the people of Southern Cameroon to be treated in any of hospital. This hospital was burnt this night by the terrorist group of La République du Cameroon. This is the second hospital that has been burnt in Fako. This is the main ward that drugs were kept. All drugs have been burnt. You can see for yourself. This is the second hospital. The first one was the regional hospital in Kumba that was burned by the terrorist military of La République du Cameroon. This is the second one. Look at mothers, they are helpless.
And there's this video of this boy
Today is the 31st.
begging, and he called their names.
What does the people want from us? We plead for the United Nations to rescue us. Please hear our cry. Look at our people, helpless. Look at mothers, they are helpless. Regional Hospital, Boyoka. La République terrorist military. You will never see good.
He called the names of the institution. He called the United Nations. I think he called the United Kingdom. I think he called the United States, begging that this is what is happening to us. Come and help us. Nobody did a thing. Nobody instituted visa restrictions on anybody. They wanted Biya to go and quote-unquote stabilize the situation.
And he went from room to room, ward to ward,
Yes.
showing the devastation.
Yes. Begging
Begging.
these external actors. It's nice that the United States of America has started with something, whatever that means. But it's not because they love us more than we love ourselves, or they love us more, they love the Amber Boys or the Ambazonians more than it's because they're beginning to understand that language that the Amber Boys are now speaking, that language of brute force. And that is the language, right?
Yes.
That is the language that is going to give us our independence.
An inalienable right.
Yes, independence. I don't want anybody to conflate independence with autonomy, with freedom, with blah blah blah. Sovereign independence based on boundaries which are not being drawn today.
And which were, those boundaries were very nice when they were drawn for the benefit of the British. But somehow it is not important that Ambazonians have those boundaries respected, is it?
Well, the British, and I've said it in the past, they are the most insidious actors in the dehumanization of the Ambazonian people. And I see today that they have a high commissioner down there engaged in buffoonery, going around talking in pidgin as if he's trying to entertain the people, wearing the traditional toga. All he needs to do is to paint a black face to finish the minstrel show. Your country said, quote unquote, we're undoubtedly expendable. We're not here to be entertained by you, Mr. High Commissioner. Stop that nonsense.
You know the irony about that is that when did they say we're expendable? In 1961, right?
Leading up to 1961.
Now this is 60 years later. So is our expendability or whatever dependent on some other human pronouncing it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's almost like if you talked about caricatures, it's almost making us become like animals that can be pushed around and sit where they are. No, we are human beings as equal to another. There's a larger conversation that you and I are going to have on this, which because some of these things, some of the behaviors that they behave in Africa, they don't come from thin air. They are. There's a whole narrative that goes with that, which over the centuries has amounted to where these people actually believe that yes, we can say you're expendable and you become expendable.
Let me make a point regarding the British and the French, because they are the two of the historic actors in in the situation in Ambazonia. I respect the French even more, because you have the French ambassador who goes there, getting a guard of honor. You have the French there with their military uniforms doing what, and pretty much open about what they do.
Yeah, they don't hide it from anybody.
And then you have this British High Commissioner having having determined that we're going to become a little gift to France from the Queen of England, having described us as being undoubtedly expendable, they send this buffoon. I'm sorry, but they send this buffoon. He goes there speaking in pidgin, thinking that he's going to impress the Ambazonian people, defiling, I'll call it defiling our traditional attire.
Okay.
Mr. High Commissioner, next time put on that black face and complete the show. The Amber Boys are not, right? These Amber Boys are not the generation.
I know your Funchas and Indians.
I don't want to call names. They are not the generation of the people you consider undoubtedly expendable. Respect yourself and respect the humanity of the Ambazonian people. You've done so much wrong to them. For you to come and mock them and taunt them by doing that is completely unacceptable. And as they will say in London, you can piss off.
Having said that, I think we can conclude the show with saying that we're celebrating American Independence Day, and as we were filming, I think you can hear some of the fireworks in the background. So let's hope that this is that this is an opening, or I'm looking for a better word for this, that this is previewing Ambazonia Independence Day coming.
Yes, the United States of America fought, ironically, against the British for their independence.
Yes.
It was a long, brutal war. As I've said in the past, I expect our struggle to be a generational conflict. So let nobody be in a hurry. Well, hopefully I'm wrong, and the suffering stops sooner rather than later. And we get to build in a life of people who live lives and not just survive or subsist.
And what Tennis just said will be the last word. I thank you for watching. There's a lot more to bring about Chicago, and I hope that I can come down more often and get this done. Thank you for watching.